So these are two phases of Krishna love, Virah and Milan. So described in this line, Drig Anjan Khanjan Mad Ganjan Jan Ranjan Mad Mat. Drig Anjan. Krishna's eyes are like that. On the top of that, he is wearing collyrium, black eyeline, you can say. Means it is beautiful. It is already beautiful. On the top of that, he is also has decorated his eyes with black line. The lower part and the upper part in both places. Other words, they are, you can say, beauty of literature. Khanjan Mad Ganjan Jan Ranjan Mad Mat. Jan Ranjan, pleasing to all gopis, and Mad Mat, intoxicating. I explained that thing. Khanjan Mad Ganjan. There is a little bird, is called Khanjan in India. The eyes of that bird are very beautiful. So, our poets try to describe the eyes of gods and goddesses with that Khanjan bird. So, Khanjan Madaganjan. Oh, how Khanjan's eyes can be compared with Krishna's eyes. They feel ashamed. Krishna's eyes are very beautiful. That has no comparison, no example on this earth. Now this gopi describes Marin Jatit Katitat Kinkirni Dhuni Har Manin Bahubhat. She first described Krishna's hair, then she described the crown, the peacock feather, described Krishna's eyes, Krishna's kundal, earrings. Now she is describing the garlands and the bead chains. Marin Jatit Katitat Kinkini Dhuni Har Manin Bahubhat. Har, garland of flowers, and bead chains of many kinds. Precious stones like diamond, or sapphire, or ruby, pearls, black, white, and garland of flowers also. There is a garland of many kinds. Many kinds. In Vrindavan there are many kinds of flowers. So his neck is full with all those precious chains and garlands. Katitat Kinkirni Dhoni. Krishna wears two more ornaments. In his where is telephone ringing? In our house, where is that? Huh? People don't wear in West. But in India, still also women sometimes they wear. It's a very Indian fashion, ornament. They call kardhani around the waist. You can say waistband in English. So in that waistband, there is quite a few lines of chains. Because if it is too hard, it's not comfortable. Suppose there are 4 or 5 lines, chains. In the middle, there is something solid. So they wear around the waist. When it comes at the front, it hooks up, and the front part is very elegant. The front part. And that is jeweled with precious jewels. So around the waist and the front, that circular or oval shape, any kind of shape, jewel. And there are small bead chains which are suspended in a half circular style, like this. They are crossing to each other. So it is worn on sari or long skirt. Radha wears both things. Sometimes she wears sari, sometimes she wears a long skirt and another piece of material, silken, which comes around her neck and head. So that waistband also Krishna wears. and his feet he wears anklets. And the anklet is also made of gold. Anklet is very similar and you can say matching with the waistband. A mini version of the waistband is anklet. So that he wears around, and in that anklet there is a small bell, round, not open. There is a small bell, is a small solid thing. So when that moves, it sounds, gives a jingling sound. And those bells are also in the waistband. So waistband and anklet, when Krishna moves, they produce a sweet jingling sound. So मणिन जटित कटितट किंकिणी धुनि हार मणिन बहुभात पीतांबर परिधान काचनी ताबिच बेन सुहात. These two ornaments are also worn by Radha also. So the bottom means the dhoti, you can say, is also yellow, silken, saffron color, and the top which comes around his shoulders is also silken, yellow, saffron color, and the border is shiny, embroidered, little thin embroidery. He wears one more thing around his waist and covering major part of his bottom and coming up in the front, and then he ties in a nice looking knot, and the two other ends of that material is suspended, and the suspended end is also decorated, is embroidered in many colors. That is called kachani. So that kachani is always pink. So kachani is pink. You can see in that picture, this kachani is pink and his dhoti is yellow, and the artist forgot to put yellow material around his shoulder, but it is always over there. So पीतांबर परिधान काचनी ताबिच बेन सुहात. Venu, Murli, flute. There is the main personality of Krishna, Venu and peacock feather. So when he is not playing on flute, he sticks that flute in that kachani, and that kachani holds that flute. It's a good for safekeeping. So he can walk, he can run, he can play, and flute will not fall. लखी में सखी सुंदर श्यामल गात पीतांबर परिधान काछनी ताबिच बेनु सुहात. लखी में सखी सुंदर श्यामल गात चलत चाल अलमस्त चंद्रिका झुकी झुकी झोंके खात. मणिमंडित मंजीर गुंजरती ताहू पर मुस्कात. लखी में सखी सुंदर श्यामल गात. His flute is also a part of his personality. Once a 16 said, Binu Murali Banmal Chandrika Nahi Pahichanat Shyama. He says, if Krishna comes to me, and if I see him without flute and without peacock feather, I will not recognize him as my beloved. He can come as a friend, have a cup of tea, but not as my beloved. Why? Because Krishna in divine Vrindavan cannot live peacock feather diadem and flute. And Krishna in Dwarika, he cannot keep peacock feather diadem and flute. Is a secret reason behind that. It's a divine secret. So you see, when he went to Mathura and Dwarika, his flute was left behind. It was not accidental. This is a theory. Because when he left Braj and went to Mathura in his ascension period and then went to Dwarika, he was not the Krishna of Vrindavan or Braj. He was another Krishna. It was his divine love plus almighty potency, not pure divine love potency. So these two things represent the form of divine love. So Krishna in divine Vrindavan always holds flute and wears peacock feather diadem. Sometimes he may leave his big crown aside, but he cannot leave peacock feather diadem, because these two things are his representation. They represent Krishna as actual, real, full Krishna. So we see in Braj Leela, as long as he lived in Braj, he always had flute and always he wore peacock feather diadem. Sometimes when he does Maharaj, he also wears a big crown and peacock feather. Sometimes when he is playing, he wears a small crown and peacock feather. So the shape of crown or the size of crown may change according to the Leelas. But peacock feather diadem never changes, and flute never changes. He may keep in his hand, he may stick it around his kachani, or he may give it to a gopi, she can hold, but he cannot leave it. It is a part of his personality. So this gopi says that, oh my dear friend, when I saw Krishna, he had all of these decorations. तो चलत चाल अलमस्त चंद्रिका झुक झुक झोंक एक हाथ. Such a divine beloved who is so loving. His walk is also very intoxicating, because when he walks with that charm. You see, when some person is intellectual and when he is walking, you can look to him, and when he is a little emotional and thinking of something loving and he is walking, there is a difference in the style of walking. So Krishna is always like drunk in divine love, in divine Vrindavan. That is his normality, because he is always giving love to gopis, giving love to his soul Radha. He is always in that love. Not for a fraction of a second he can come to intellectual side or almighty side. It is impossible. Padamekam nagacchati Vrindavanam parityajya. Saint said, Krishna cannot leave divine Vrindavan even for a single second. He cannot go even a step beyond Vrindavan. Because if he goes beyond Vrindavan, is another dimension, then he is not Krishna. He can be anything, not Krishna. So Krishna is always in divine Vrindavan, and Vrindavan Krishna is always intoxicated with divine love. And Krishna's intoxication is much more higher than the gopis. You see, gopis have the love of Radha Krishna in their heart, and Krishna have the love of Radha in his heart. So Krishna is more intoxicated in higher potency of Radha's love as compared to the gopis. There should be some difference between Krishna and gopis. because he is the giver and gopis are the receiver. So chalat chal almast. Almast means in a loving fashion. It's called almast. So he walks in almast. Mast means masti. Masti means in a loving fashion, in love. Chandrika jhuk jhuk jhoke khat. So when he walks in such a style that peacock feather diadem, the peacock feather is not always stiff, so it also moves slowly. Manimanjit manjir gunjarati tahu par muskat. From top to toe, he is all decorated with jewels, rings, bangles, bead chains, earrings, crown, waistband, anklet. So all of these also make some sweet noise. And on the top of that, he is smiling all the time. He is never sober. He is never serious. Because he cannot be sober or serious in divine Vrindavan. It is also impossible. Because he is always in love of Radha. So when you are in love, you cannot be serious. There can be seriousness of love. There can be a kind of ecstasy where he can look serious. But there is the ecstasy of love, not a regular seriousness. So he is never serious, never sober, he is always loving and smiling. Koti anang kripalu ang prati varat hona ghat lakhi mein sakhi sundar shyama lagat. Koti anang kripalu ang prati. Anang, in English you can say Cupid, Kamadev. It is actually a power. The beauty of this world, the power of beauty of Maya. There are many celestial gods and goddesses. They are the manifestations of Mayic power. They have their body. So, the sweetest charm of Maya, that power is called Cupid or Kamadev. So that is the maximum beauty of this Maya, maximum charm of this Maya, and that is personified, that is a God. So if you wish to compare Krishna's beauty, so take this beauty as one unit and multiply it by uncountable times. So Koti Anang, even then, that cannot compare Krishna beauty. Varat hona ghat, uncountable beauty of Cupid or Kamadev can be sacrificed on the beauty of one part of Krishna's body. So beautiful he is. The Gopi says, Lakhi mein sakhi sundar shyama lagat. Such Krishna, in such a decoration, I saw him today. So when we meditate on Krishna, the descriptions will help you forming his image. There are few important things. For instance, Krishna. You see, when you try to think of Krishna, you can think of him in any way. Any way means you can look to his eyes, look to his smile, or you can feel the perfume of his body or his garland, or you can feel his touch, or even the saffron color of his pitambar, or even one ornament, bangle or earring or crown or anything, or just flute. Anything you remember in relation to Krishna, it is all Krishna. We have five senses: touching, seeing, tasting, looking, hearing. These are the means of perception. So during meditation, you don't have to stress too much. Means just in a normal way, you can try to perceive anything from that divine Vrindavan.